The world's biggest serial killer would have never been caught if he knew how to operate a computer. Imagine a person who is committing serial killings who is also a friend of his victims, a well-known name in the city, and on top of that, a doctor. This is the astonishing story of Dr. Harold Shipman, who used his clinic not to save lives, but to take lives. In a small town named Hyde in England, where only 30 people live, he kept on committing serial killings for 23 years under everyone's nose. Even after killing more than 250 people, no one suspected Dr. Harold Shipman and probably would never have suspected him. He had not made a small mistake. What was the reason for killing people? Why was he not caught for so long? And what clue did the police get that exposed the murders that were going on for years in a single moment and put them once again in the... The flatterer was Dr. Harold Shipman. The doctor mostly targeted such patients who lived alone and were very old, whose death could not be suspected by anyone. Dr. Shipman would spend as much time as possible with those patients and would also go to their homes to listen to them, to lighten the burden of their hearts. He would make them feel that although they are alone, Dr. Shipman is there to listen to their every word. Some patients even trusted Dr. Shipman so much that they had even given him the keys of their house. Due to this attitude of his, he had become very famous in Hyde, because people thought that Dr. Shipman only treats old people through But under the guise of all this, Dr. Shipmans would find out who is alone at what time, who has how much wealth and property, who all come to the house and where the relatives stay when the doctor is there. When Shipman was satisfied, he would kill his patients by giving them an overdose of medicine. Since those patients were already more than 80 years old, no one would have suspected their death. This continued for many years. Forget about getting caught. No one even suspected him until he himself made a mistake. Dr. Shipman started his career in a town called Pontefract, 70 kilometers away from Hyde, where he used to work in a hospital. Then in 1974, he left Pontefract and went to Todmorden, where he got a position as a general practitioner in Abraham and Murad Medical Center. During his job here, he used to prescribe excessive quantity of pathan to some patients. This is actually a painkiller, but it is a very addictive medicine. Dr. Shipman was addicted to pathan, and he deliberately used to give this medicine to his patients. There is no need for medicine prescription. What happened was that the patients felt very good after taking this medicine, while in reality, they did not know that they were taking drugs. This was the reason that the patients of Shipman were attracted towards him, even if they did not want to. After getting caught, the hospital administration fired Dr. Shipman, and the matter reached to canceling his license, but the ship management saved his license from getting canceled. After spending some time in the rehab center, when everyone forgot him, he came to Hyde in 1977, where he got a general practitioner in Donnybrook Medical Center. In 1980, he kept practicing on the position of GP, and in the meantime, neither did he give up drugs, nor did he kill old patients by finding an opportunity. But the frequency of these murders increased a lot from 1993, when he opened his own clinic in Hyde and made a good name in the city. The next several years, the matter continued like this. No one suspected the doctor's action. The first time in March 1998, Dr. Linda Reynolds, who worked in Brooks Surgery, another hospital opposite Shipman's clinic, expressed her suspicion about the high mortality rate among Shipman's patients. She said that Shipman, who runs only a small clinic, has had 16 deaths in the last 3 months, while Brooks Surgery, which has 3 times more patients than Shipman's clinic, has had only 14 deaths during the same period. This suspicion grew further when it was found out that all 16 of Dr. Shipman's patients were not buried, but cremated after their death. Let us tell you here that most Christians bury their loved ones after death. Only a few people decide to cremate them. Dr. Linda expressed her suspicion in a report. In the case of this, a report was made to the coroner of Manchester, in which, along with all these details, it was also written that most of these 16 patients of Dr. Shipman were old women who were found dead in their homes. And it cannot be a coincidence every time that most of these patients are on the doctorship at the time of death. But the patients of Dr. Shipman died in a strange way while sitting on a chair and wearing good clothes. And secondly, at that time, either Dr. Shipman was in their house or he went to the same house for the first time and found the patient in a dead condition, which cannot be normal in any way. An investigation was also done on the basis of this report, but the police did not find any concrete evidence against Dr. Shipman, and after a month, this investigation was closed. When the patients of Dr. Harold Shipman used to die, he himself used to sign Form B. Form B is that form which the doctor treating the patient has to sign, in which he writes the cause of death of the patient. But the issue was that Form C, in most of the cases, the papers which were to be signed by other doctors were also signed by Ship's friends, or by those people who did not suspect him. In this way, Shipman used to write fake information in the death certificates of his patients and send them for cremation easily, and no one suspected anything. Due to this process, many deaths remained uninvestigated, and this was the reason why Shipman was able to hide his murders easily. After the investigation was closed, Shipman killed 3 more people, but the time of getting caught was not far. Shipman's last victim was Hyde's former mayor Kathleen, 81 years old, who died in her house on the 24th of June 1998. And here also, Dr. Shipman was the last person who had seen Kathleen alive for the last time. He later signed the death certificate and wrote the cause of death as old age. Daughter Angela Woodruff was herself a lawyer, who became suspicious of her mother's mysterious death when she found a will of her mother in which she had left her house to Dr. Shipman. Dr. Shipman was very close to the family, and his getting the house in the will did not become the basis for suspicion. Rather, Angela suspected that her mother had 2 houses, while only 1 house is mentioned in the will. This shows that this will was written by someone who did not know about the other house, and that person was Dr. Shipman. Angela Woodruff went to the police, who started the investigation again. Kathleen Grundy's body was excavated from the grave and sent for autopsy. It was found that traces of diamorphine, i.e. heroin, were found in her body. When the police asked Dr. Shipman, he said that Grundy was addicted to heroin and she had written this on her computer for treating him. Dr. Shipman had recently started making entries in a computerized medical journal, but he did not know that, although he had entered the date before death in the entry, the last edit date of that file gets saved automatically in the computer. When the police examined the entries in the computer, it was found that it was not enough to arrest the ship management. The police also found the typewriter, which was used to write the fake will. This was discovered because some characters in Shipman's typewriter were misplaced, and the same characters were missing in Grundy's will. On the 7th of September 1998, the police arrested Hyde's well-known doctor, Harold Shipman. When this news came to light, those people also came forward whose loved ones had been killed by the shipmate earlier. They had doubts, but he could not raise his voice in front of the famous doctor of the city. Police also investigated 15 other patients who had died at the hands of shipmate some time ago. A special pattern was seen in all these cases, in which the patients were given a lethal dose of diamorphine. He himself signed their death certificates and wrote old age as the cause of death. Shipmate also advised cremation, so that all the evidence would be erased after burning. During the shipmate inquiry, the cases of all those patients who had died in the care of shipmate were re-examined. The inquiry team investigated all the documents, death certificates, and medical records which Shipmate had handled. Apart from this, the families of those people were also interviewed whose relatives were Shipmate, and some bodies were also exhumed and forensic postmortem was also done. This process was very detailed, and during this it was found that Shipman had used the medicine to kill the patient. From 1975 till his arrest, he has killed a total of 218 patients. This is the confirmed number, but in many cases, due to lack of evidence, they were not confirmed. It is estimated that this number can be up to 260. Court sentenced him to 15 murders. He tied a bedsheet to the bars of the shipyard and hanged himself. After his death, one of his jailmates told him that he had killed not 260, but 508 people, and his shipmate himself had told him this. But the real reason for Shipman killing so many people has not been revealed till date. Some people call it psycho, some say it is a way to earn money, and some people are also considering it as the effect of Shipman's mother's death, because his mother, who was a cancer patient, was given morphine as a painkiller. Experts believe that Shipman might have also killed his patient. I wanted to see someone dying like this, by giving morphine. I hope you all will like and share this video. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next great video.